And welcome to the University of Dundee M.Ed webinar. My name is Helen Sparopoulos. I'm the Admissions Manager at Stafford Global, and joining me this evening all the way from the UK is Dr. Marie. Good evening to you, Dr. Marie.
Good evening, Helen, and everybody else. It's great to be here tonight.
Good, and I'm glad that we have quite a few applicants that have actually joined us this evening, and I can see as far afield as Cyprus, as well as in Africa and obviously the Middle East. Welcome everyone this evening. How we are going to conduct the webinar is I'm just briefly going to introduce you to Stafford. I'm then going to hand you over to Dr. Marie, who's actually going to take you through the program. And right at the end of the presentation, I will be opening up the portal for you to type out any questions that you may have for me or for Marie. I will be going through these questions quite carefully. The questions tend to be very similar, if not identical. So please do listen out to the question and to that very important answer. Okay, so let's get started with the webinar. Right, who is Stafford Global? Well, Stafford Global was established in 1993, and we are a resource centre for 6 UK universities, one of which is the University of Dundee. Now, the mere fact that you're here this evening with us means that you have been in touch with one of our experienced academic consultants. And what our function is to assist you throughout the application process and get that very, very important unconditional offer. And we do also have some academic as well as administrative support. Now, we do also have a variety of programs ranging from certificates to diplomas, right through until MScs and doctorates. So we really do have all the programs that would suit your personal as well as your professional needs. Okay, so I'm now going to hand you over to Dr. Marie. She's going to take you through the program, and I'll join you towards the end of the presentation. Over to you, Dr. Marie.
Thank you very much, Helen. Thank you for that introduction. So, hello and welcome to the University of Dundee and the Master of Education Programme. So my name is Marie Beresford-Dey. I'm a lecturer on the programme, primarily within leadership, but I'm also the academic lead and advisor of studies for students who are studying with us via Stafford Associates. So what I'm going to do is take you through introduce you briefly to the University of Dundee before we have a look at the M.Ed programme and give an overview on that, and then we'll move on to things like International Baccalaureate and the various modules. So the University of Dundee, who are we? Just to give you some introduction here, we make a difference here and now in the real world. We do this by encouraging a cross-disciplinary exchange of thoughts, ideas and innovation through a variety of teaching methods and perspectives. We work to foster a partnership between students and staff and actively seek ways of working together across boundaries. We encourage and support students to be transformative. We make time to listen to you, to help you, to support you. We're a modern university who are acting locally and globally on solutions to 21st century problems through creativity and innovation. And throughout that, we do transform lives around the world. So why Dundee? As you can see from the rankings listed there, we're frequently placed highly in the university rankings, which we are very proud of. We have a substantial global reputation with students from over 150 countries around the world. In addition, no matter where you're studying from, we promote a real sense of community, and it's this sense of community that we feel sets us apart. So at Dundee, we can offer you a learning experience with one of the world's top universities. And during the course of your studies, we'll offer you excellent teaching, learning, support and resources to help you with your studies. So looking a little bit more closely then, what is the M.Ed? Well, the M.Ed is a professional development programme undertaken at level 11 on the Scottish qualifications framework, so that's at master's level. And although just a point here that although the M.Ed is recognised by the General Teaching Council in Scotland, it's not a teaching qualification. It's a programme of professional development. However, as different national governments have different prerequisites for teaching, we do advise that you check with the relevant government or registering body or Ministry of Education as to the requirements that you need. So as a professional development programme for educators, the M.Ed is a programme based on reflective practice, work-based inquiry and action research. And as I say, do make sure that with your governing bodies and registering bodies that the M.Ed meets the requirements that you need for teaching. So the M.Ed offers you a part-time and fast-track study, which affords some flexibility and autonomy within your studies. It's a blended learning approach, so we will deliver quite a lot of the content through webinars, similar to what we're delivering this now, through the reading materials, through various activities, but also through in-country workshops, which I'll talk about shortly. As I say, we are a professional development programme that is practice-based, so you need enough experience as an educator to be able to draw from. We're recognised by the IB, and students from all sectors of education worldwide study with us, and through that we have a variety of different routes and foci throughout, from early years through to higher education. And regardless of where you are in the world, we treat all students equally. So even though you'll be studying at a distance, you'll still have access to student support in the same way as an on-campus student. So why study at master's level? Well, there are several benefits of undertaking a master's degree. First of all, it deepens and broadens your knowledge through asking questions, seeking those answers, and exploring the landscape from different perspectives, which then changes the way in which you perceive the world. And through this, you'll develop a more inquiring, reflective, critical, and innovative approach to practice. Through undertaking the M.Ed, you'll demonstrate your mastery of education, which of course can then be honed further to specialise in an educational area. It enables you to develop transferable skills such as criticality, communication, use of technology and organisational skills. A study at master's level enables you to improve your career prospects, which often leads to higher incomes, as this also includes improving or developing into professional progression, such as leadership and management, and or you might wish to progress to doctoral study if you fulfil or achieve the full M.Ed. And finally, some countries consider teaching at master's level or teaching a master's level profession. So therefore, obtaining an M.Ed enables you to meet the professional requirements for those countries. So the M.Ed is a programme of study that brings together theory with your practice. It encourages you to draw on your experiences and align them with literature. It enables you to question why we do certain things and whether there are alternative ways where practice can be enhanced. It encourages you to strengthen your knowledge about global educational developments through offering an opportunity to critically explore different perspectives, all of which help to develop or extend your confidence and enhance your professional careers. And as tutors, we are continuously seeing our students' practice being influenced by their learning at master's level, and this inevitably then benefits the students and staff who you're working with. So all of this, the international reputation that we have for education expertise, and the variety of links to education agencies that we can offer. We are part of a multinational cohort that's focused on practice within your learning. So how do you apply that learning, and developing as a professional will all help to develop your skills and knowledge and leadership for a future career. So to obtain a M.Ed, you'll need to complete 180 credits of study in any of those named awards that you see on the screen. The award of Leading Learning and Teaching, which is highlighted in bold, is our generic award, which provides subject flexibility. However, if you require a subject specialism, you can see that we have a number of options, from educational leadership down to the TESOL, the Teaching English to Speakers of Other Languages. And that TESOL pathway is a new pathway, or relatively new pathway, to us here at Dundee, and we are extremely excited to be able to offer it. So the sort of students that might undertake that route, it's a programme that's suitable for new graduates and teachers of English with little to a few years of teaching experience. It could also be suitable for those who would like to become TESOL leaders or TESOL in their institutions and pursue consultancy in charities, educational organisations, state or private schools, and of course university. The main benefits for employability through the TESOL programme is to give you a competitive advantage, and that's the same for the other Master of Education awards as well, but to give you that competitive advantage for English teaching positions within schools, universities and other educational institutions. Alternatively, you can also gain employment with the TESOL in translation and editing for publishing sector. So you can see there's a wide range of opportunities available with that route. Okay, so to meet the M.Ed or postgraduate certificate or postgraduate diploma, there will be a requirement to undertake modules, optional modules as part of that, as well as the core modules. So each of the optional modules that you can see on the screen there enable you to carry out the study and assignment without being in a workplace environment, as long as you have relevant teaching experience to draw from. Each optional module is considered as a single credit module, and they're all worth 30 credits each. So in addition to those that you're seeing listed there, we also have 3 core modules reflecting upon practice. However, if you take the IB routes, that may change slightly to reflecting upon leadership practice in the IB, research methods, and they're worth 30 credits also. And in addition to that, we have the dissertation module, which is worth 60 credits as it's a double credit module. Okay, so to demonstrate how the named awards and modules link, you can see that the generic Leading Learning and Teaching Award enables you to undertake any 2 optional modules, as well as having flexibility at dissertation stage. Whereas the named modules, such as educational leadership, so the ones not highlighted in bold, do require you to undertake specific modules, and the dissertation must also focus on an area that's relevant to that named award. So as I say, educational leadership, we can see there that one of the modules must be leadership and organisational development, but then your dissertation topic must also be related to educational leadership. Okay, I mentioned International Baccalaureate earlier. So for these awards, once you commence your studies at Dundee, you'll need to register directly with the IB, the International Baccalaureate. We provide you with guidelines for this process once you become a student with us. We also have a dedicated member of staff who will provide you with IB support. For the IB routes, there's no additional assignments for each of the IB awards, but you will be expected to underpin your writing with IB publications. And again, we'll provide you with support for this. So we have the 3 routes running through the programme. The first of this is the Certificate in Leadership Practice. And for that award, there's no prerequisite that's been suggested by the IB themselves of any IB experience. Moving on from that, we have the Advanced Certificates in Leadership Research. So we have 2 pathways in this, but very similar. Pathway 1 is that you undertake the Certificate in Leadership Practice, which then gives you the underpinning knowledge to work through the Advanced Certificate. So no prerequisite of IB experience is required on that pathway, but alternatively we have pathway 2. So if you have 3 years teaching experience in an IB school, it may be that you don't want to undertake the certificate level because you've already got that experience and knowledge of IB. And then finally we have the Advanced Certificates in Learning and Teaching Research, and for this you do require 3 years teaching experience in an IB school, and all these requirements are come to us through the IB, so it's their prerequisites. Okay, so just have a few examples because lots of information here tonight with lots of different options, so it's useful to work through a few examples to make it clear the possible routes through. So this is an M.Ed, taking the full M.Ed route of a typical part-time route that includes the IB Advanced Teaching and Learning Research Award. So here in year 1, you can see that we undertake 2 modules. Reflection upon practice is the core module plus an optional module, your first optional. At that point, you are eligible to exit the programme with a postgraduate certificate, so because you'll have achieved 60 credits. Year 2, you would then take your second optional module plus research methods, so core module, and that would provide eligibility to exit with a postgraduate diploma. But of course, we hope that you go on to complete the full M.Ed, where in year 3 you will undertake the dissertation, enabling you to, or providing eligibility to exit with the full M.Ed. And it's at that point, if you've underpinned all your study with IB publications and philosophy and so on, that you have the potential to for IB teaching and learning eligibility. So just having another example here, this is the M.Ed and the IB leadership route and a typical part-time route. This part will change slightly if you undertake the fast-track route, because we will need to pull some of these together, and I'll talk more about that in a moment. But in year 1 on a part-time route, if you undertake the Leadership and Organisational Development module with the Reflection upon Leadership in the IB, you are at that point eligible to exit with a postgraduate certificate, but you are eligible for the IB Leadership Practice Award. You may wish to continue into the second year, where then you have your optional module plus the research methods, and that provides eligibility for the postgraduate diploma. And year 3, again, we have the dissertation, but this time you will need to focus on leadership and the IB, because you are going for the IB Leadership Award. And upon successful completion of all of that, you are eligible for the Advanced IB Leadership Award and the M.Ed. So I mentioned the part-time and fast-track study. The programme has options for both. The key difference here is that you double up the amount of work carried out in a semester for the fast-track route. So you would undertake a total of 60 credits in one semester, as opposed to the 30 credits for the part-time route. The fast-track route is a significant undertaking, and I really do advise you to consider whether you have space to complete approximately 30 to 35 hours of study per week. However, if you do decide upon this option but then feel it's too overwhelming, we can transfer you onto the part-time route at the start of the semester. The important thing is that you contact us as soon as possible, so we can discuss the options available to you once you've started your study. Equally, if you commence the part-time route but perhaps your circumstances change so that you feel that you're able to double up your study, then again, we'll be able to transfer you at certain points of your study onto the fast-track route. So we do have some flexibility in terms of study duration. Okay, we also have the optional workshops. So I mentioned that blended learning approach and that face-to-face workshops, which may be held virtually or locally in the UAE. Currently, with travel restrictions, they are being held virtually. Workshops are not mandatory, but they're highly recommended. They're a fantastic opportunity to meet with other students as well as some of the tutors. And it's a space for us to start to build that sense of community. The induction workshop will provide you with an opportunity to gain an understanding of the various mechanisms within the university's online learning platform, how to access the online library, and how to access the various opportunities for support. It'll also enable you to develop an understanding of critical reading, thinking, and writing, all of which is required for master's level learning. Feedback is always excellent. Students find them very worthwhile and beneficial to moving forward with their studies. So if you do join us on the programme, we do hope to see you at these workshops, which are scheduled for the 15th and 16th of October. Entry requirements: all routes must have an undergraduate degree, but that can be in any discipline. If your undergraduate degree was not taught in English, the English language requirement is an academic IELTS of 6.5 or equivalent. So the two routes through are very similar, but we have the workplace-based route. So educators who currently work in a relevant setting and wish to enhance their professional learning and improve their career progression prospects. So you are using your current practice to be able to underpin your thinking, your reading, your assignments. We also have the non-workplace based route, where this is where you've had previous experience, not necessarily current, but you must have had enough experience to be able to reflect on. And it's through this reflection that you will start to develop your understanding and communicate that understanding through the written work. Okay, just a note on graduation timescales, because this can be quite a lengthy process. It's not something that you finish your programme of study and then we will send you out the certificate. As with other universities around the world, we have processes that we go through. One of those is the Board of Examiners meeting. This is held in September each year, and Chair's Action Meeting is held in May of each year, both of which coincide with the graduation ceremonies of June and November. Okay, there are 2 opportunities, as I say, for you to graduate, and Registry will contact you to inform you that you may be eligible to graduate. And this is dependent on you passing your final module and that grade being ratified by the Board of Examiners in time for graduation. Okay, on completion, letters of attainment can be requested if there is a gap between you completing your final piece of work and the graduation. So we can issue you with letters to confirm that completion perhaps for your employees or for future employees, maybe for a further university course. But no certificates can be provided until you've graduated in either June or November. So what do our students say? We have lots of wonderful feedback. As tutors, we thoroughly enjoy working with students from around the world in a variety of contexts. And key areas, one of the, I suppose, the place for the most, I suppose, development that really highlights this program to me is the fact that it helps our students in their own employment to support their colleagues and primarily to support their students and families. But also the support being excellent from academic staff and professional services staff. And we do like to ensure that the environment, that sense of community, is welcoming and friendly for you to be able to develop your understanding and take forward your studies. Okay, so tuition fees, please do speak to the team at Stafford Associates about tuition fees. The application deadline is quickly approaching, 10th of October, and we're already in September. So please do get your applications in as soon as possible. And on that note, I think Helen's going to come back and join me for the questions. Hi, Helen, thank you.
Hello, good. Okay, thank you so much, Marie. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, good. So I've just gone through some of these questions already, and the first question is, can I use this program to teach biology, geography, or history?
We don't teach subject-specific areas, so such as those biology, history, and so on. It's not that type of program. For those sorts of programs, you would need probably to either undertake a degree in those specific areas and or a teaching practice award. This is a professional development award, so there is an assumption that you will have some of that knowledge beforehand from your degree that you'll have captured. If you want to go into a new subject area, then I would speak with the team at Stafford to see what else they may be able to offer you, but we don't teach content subject specific to school subjects.
Right, and the next question is, if my named award is Leading, Learning and Teaching, which module should I be taking if I want to exit with a postgraduate certificate?
Well, you have a whole range to it. It very much depends on your circumstances, your career opportunities, where you want to go with your career, what sort of context you're currently working in. There's a lot of things that is involved in trying to unpack that question. So for an easier response, I would say speak to the team at Stafford, because they at this time will have some understanding, or they will discuss with you all of those features and be able to provide you with some guidance. the beauty about the Leading Learning and Teaching pathway is it is flexible. So you've got lots of opportunities that you can explore there.
Okay, and if my certificate says I have chosen inclusive education as my named award, what exactly is written on this particular certificate?
I don't have it word for word. It will give you that named award on the certificate. And for anybody, one of the common questions that we often get asked in these sessions as well is whether the certificate also indicates whether you've studied through distance learning or online learning as well, and it doesn't. The certificate is the same regardless of whether you're studying at a distance or whether you're here on campus. But it will have your named award on that certificate. Helen, you may be able to identify whether you've got...
Yeah, I was just actually going to say that if you do get in contact with your academic consultant, we do have some sample certificates that we can actually send through to you, so that you can have an idea of what your degree certificate will look like. So do get in touch with your consultant on that. How many assignments are required per module?
Typically it's one. Some modules are broken up slightly. You may have two in that, but it doesn't mean to say each assignment for a 30 credit module, so the single credit module is approximately 5,000 words. So some modules will split that up depending on the format they take, but most of them will have one 5,000 word assignment at the end of the semester. But you'll be given clear guidance on that at the very start of the semester. So the moment you start the module, you'll know what the assignment is, you know what the assignment criteria will be. So you shouldn't be in any doubt at the very beginning to what you're working towards at the end.
Okay, and how many graduation ceremonies do you have per year, and which months do they normally fall into?
So we have two celebrations per year, and they fall into this. We have the summer graduation, which takes place in June, and we have the winter graduation, which takes place in November. And we would love to see you at these graduations, particularly when they do open up on campus again.
Okay, well, that was actually one of the questions is, will the graduations be virtual or will they be on campus? And again, as Dr. Maria said, it's very difficult to actually give a definite answer on that. It really does depend on a lot of factors, and, obviously COVID permitting. A question regarding IELTS. Yes, if you have done your IELTS many years ago, you would have to redo the IELTS, or you can look at doing any other English formal test. So you can get in touch with the academic consultant at Stafford and give you a bit of guidance as to which test you can actually do to meet that English requirement. Okay. Very important question next is regarding the degree certificates. Are these issued by the University of Dundee or are they issued by Stafford Global?
They are a University of Dundee certificate. As I say, it doesn't matter whether you are studying with us via Stafford Global or whether you're a student on campus. The certificate is exactly the same, and they are issued by the registry team here at the university.
Okay, and I'll answer the next question with regards to applications. Applications are actually managed and processed by Stafford Global. So if you do want to apply for the program, you can send all the relevant documentation to your academic consultant and we will actually apply on your behalf to the university. One of the main and important reasons why you can actually come through Stafford Global is that our experienced academic team and and our experienced recruitment team know exactly what documents are required to be submitted to the university. So we make sure that that application is actually quite sound. So that is one of the major reasons why a lot of applicants in the Middle East and Africa do actually come and do the application through Stafford. So do get in touch with us regarding that and we'll be able to assist you.
And I think it's worth pointing out, Helen, at this time that, you know, we've had this partnership for a good few years, so we know each other, we know the way that each institution works, and that partnership really does come through with students applying to attend the university. So
absolutely, absolutely. And very importantly is that all the academics is managed by Dr. Marie and her very experienced team. So there is no teaching actually coming from Stafford Global at all. It is all from the University of Dundee. And a question about deferral. Is there any possibility for me to defer between intakes if I cannot manage to start? Is this permitted?
Yes, under certain circumstances it is. You would need to apply for a deferral, and it is upon that application that a panel will approve or request any further information from you for that referral, what we consider as a temporary withdrawal. Now we would look at each application as it stands and what the circumstances are that would warrant a temporary withdrawal. But you do need to have completed your study within a 5-year time period. So we also take that into consideration as well, particularly if you're doing the full M.Ed. So there's again lots of moving parts around that, and as I'll always say, for things whether that's mitigating circumstances to apply for an extension or for a temporary withdrawal, the sooner you speak to us about this, the more we can support you in your studies.
Okay, and can I actually choose from a fast track to a normal track? And in your advice, is it better to actually do the fast track? What would you suggest?
As I mentioned in the presentation, the fast track route is a substantial amount of study. You're looking at studying as a full-time student in essence in the time scale of things. So if you are working, particularly if you've got a job with additional responsibilities such as a leadership role, for example, I would suggest and strongly advise that you take that part-time route. This is not a quick piece of study that you can carry. It takes some in-depth reading, in-depth thinking about, and some in-depth writing about. So we are looking at 30 to 35 hours of study per week for that fast-track route.
Okay, and does the postgraduate certificate or full M.Ed program qualify me for the General Teaching Council in Scotland?
No, as I mentioned, although the programme is recognised by the General Teaching Council in Scotland, it doesn't qualify you to be a teacher. There's specific teaching certificates and experiences and things that they are looking for that you will need to explore a little bit further. In terms of other countries, as I mentioned previously, do explore these, take time to go to the Ministry of Education, the governing bodies, local governments and so on to find out what the requirements are, because everywhere is very different. Even within the UK, it's very different. So you do need to explore that further.
Absolutely, and you're quite correct, and that also pertains, you know, to the Middle East, Africa, Canada, wherever you are. And Marie is quite correct. You do need to check with your own ministries in your own countries, simply because the rules and regulations do tend to change, and they do tend to change quite quickly. So please do get in touch with your local ministries regarding that. And who can advise me on choosing between the rewards mentioned? Oh, okay, fantastic. Mona, please do get in touch with your academic consultant, and we'll be able to give you some advice as to which named award you can choose. Again, as Dr. Marie has said, it also depends on what you want to do with your career, where you want to go, what eventually you want to actually study. So all this is a very important discussion that you can have with one of our consultants, and we can choose the right program for you. Okay, and is the postgraduate certificate offered by Dundee equivalent to what is called the PGCE?
Well, they are very different in some ways, because one, the PGCE is typically, and I say typically because there's variations again across the board, linked to a teaching practice award. So it may be teacher training, teacher license, depending on how you know that, so where you are in the world, and the postgraduate certificate in, whether that be leading, learning, teaching, it isn't in education as such, it's in a part of education. So in leading, learning, teaching, in educational leadership, in inclusive education. So it is different in that respect.
Okay, and do we have the option to opt for certificate in learning and teaching research instead of certificate in leadership practice? I am interested in the IB Educator certificate.
The biggest decision maker in that area is whether you have IB teaching experience and how much of that you have, and what you want to, how far you want to go in terms of the full M.Ed or not. So there's lots of variables in that, again, as there are in many of these questions coming through tonight. So again, I would speak to your academic consultant, because you'll be able to talk to them about, you know, what you're currently doing, where you want to be in your career, and the best routes to get there.
Okay, and the next question is regarding the activity of an assessor. Are there any assessors that can assess me even if it's virtually? Is this part of the course?
No, we don't. I think what's probably that question is directed to is whether we come in and carry out classroom observations, and that's not the case, because it's not a teacher training or teacher licensing program. We don't need to come in and assess your teaching. What we do is assess how you reflect upon your teaching or leadership or other areas of education, and then how you discuss that in depth and analyse that in terms of the literature as well. So that's the way that we assess. No, we wouldn't come and carry out any observations.
If I have applied for the postgraduate certificate, can I then decide after my studies that I want to continue with the postgraduate diploma into a full M.Ed, or do I just leave the program and only come back after a year?
No, we have flexibility built in. So if you apply for the postgraduate certificate, and then you may exit at that time, and then you do have time to come back to us, whether that, as long as it's within that 5 years, have time to come back to us and to start working towards postgraduate diploma and the M.Ed. Equally, you might submit your first module, and once you've got the feedback, that increases your confidence in what you're doing, and it could be at that point you think, actually I can do the full M.Ed or I can do the postgraduate diploma. Then tell us at that point before you exit, and we can amend your records to reflect your decision.
Good. And what would happen if I do miss the workshops? Will I have access to whatever is covered in that workshop? Is the workshop perhaps videotaped?
It is recorded, particularly at the moment with them being virtual, so every part of the workshop is recorded just now, but also you will have access to any presentations, slide decks that we have, any documents that we may share, any readings that we might suggest. All of that will be in one area for you to access if you can't make the workshops. Of course, we do hope that you can, because as I say, it all helps to build in that community of learners that it is important when you're studying. But that said, if you can't make it, you're not going to miss out on the content, but it just means you don't get involved in the discussions in the same way.
Absolutely. And just a point there is that these workshops are on a Friday and a Saturday as well. So it's really quite flexible again for people to attend. Can I change my specialisation halfway through my studies? Would this be permitted?
That depends on what you're changing from and to. So if you are going from a named award to the generic leading learning teaching, then yes, we will be able to do that relatively easily. If you're wanting to go the other way, so changing from leading learning and teaching to a named award, that very much depends on what you have studied before you would come to us to request that change. So we would need to look at what you studied so far, what you want to change to be able to support you with that. But of course, again, the sooner we have those discussions, the more that we can support you with that.
I really do like this program, and unfortunately I do not have a bachelor degree, but I do have some professional qualifications. I do have quite a lot of years of working experience. I have been told that I cannot apply because I don't have a bachelor degree. Is this true? And Dr. Marie, can you not please take me into this program? Because I do have working experience.
Oh, sadly not, I'm afraid. We do need you to have a bachelor's degree to come onto the programme. But I would say speak to the team to see if there's any alternatives of you either topping up on some of the work through a different programme to obtain that degree, or whether there is a degree that you can work towards its outright form.
Absolutely. And interesting question from Russia. If I have completed my PGCEI certificate from another UK university, am I able to get exemptions from the University of Dundee?
Generally, yes. If I think it's the university that it might be, then yes, you will be able to get exemption on that. However, we do need to check that the study that you've carried out is at equivalent to level 11 here in Scotland. So again, with information in terms of the level, whether it was a level 6 or 7 study, if it's an English university, if it's a Scottish university, whether that was 10 or 11. If it's 11 or 7, depending where you've studied, then yes, that will be fine. And it must have been obtained within the last 5 years.
Absolutely. So do get in touch with your consultant at Stafford, because we will be able to give you some guidance as to which qualifications may be accepted by Marie and her team. As Maria said, we've had quite a lot of years of experience with this, so we kind of know exactly which qualifications will be accepted. So do get in touch with us regarding that. Okay, and one last question. Okay, and Dr. Marie, are you going to be teaching on this program? And if so, how do I get into your class?
Well, I mean, very flattering. you would need to have, well, first and foremost, an interest in leadership, because that's my prime area for teaching. I will also, at the moment, it's looking like I'll be teaching on the innovation module as well. Plus, I do teach a dissertation, so I'm a dissertation supervisor. So typically, I'm somewhere along your journey. But also do remember that I'm the academic or the advisor of study, as well as the academic lead for any student undertaking their studies through Stafford Global. So, you know, you would come to me for any support that's not module related. So I can provide you with that support, provide you with that guidance, and you know, I do like to build those relationships with students. So yeah, hopefully we'll see you there, we'll see you at the induction, and we'll see you throughout your studies.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, so that has actually managed to get all the questions together. Very, very interesting questions this evening. Thank you very much. And as Dr. Marie has said, we've got an application deadline which is coming up the 10th of October. There are limited places available. Please do get in touch with your academic consultant. We'll be able to guide you as to what documents are required to be submitted, and we can get that very, very important unconditional offer for you. Again, thank you so much, Dr. Marie. It was lovely seeing you again, and thank you everyone for attending this webinar, and I hope you enjoyed it. And just a last word from me, this has been recorded and we will be sending that through to you for your review as well. Thank you very much, everyone. A good evening to all.